Marketing Your Private Practice is a podcast where you'll learn easy to implement tips and strategies to grow your business without spending all day online. I'm your host, Kathy Colaiacovo, and I teach practitioners the Thrive marketing method to create simple and streamlined plans by focusing on long-term strategies, not just social media. Discover ways to spend less time on your marketing, attract more clients, and build the financial freedom that comes with a thriving practice. One where you have time left in your day for the people and things that matter to you. Hey, private practice heroes. Thanks for tuning into the Marketing Your Private Practice with Kathy C podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Colaiacovo, and today I wanted to share some strategies on improving your marketing content so that the time you put into creating your content pays off with results from both the search engines and your ideal clients. And the reason I want to focus on this is because I've noticed a common theme in some of my recent marketing audits that I offer on the podcast. A similar issue that everyone had, and it was coming from 3 common mistakes that folks make when it comes to the marketing content they use. No matter if it's content on your website, your social media, your emails, these mistakes were holding them back from attracting those ideal clients they want to work with. And that's why I wanted to share this information with you today. So if you're ready to learn, I am ready to share with you these 3 essentials that you must consider including in your marketing content that will help you attract more clients. And even better, it will get the search engine sending those people right to you as well. The first thing we want to talk about before we dive into these 3 essentials is why you're even doing any marketing for your private practice in the first place. There are typically 3 main goals your marketing has, the job that it should be doing for you. Number 1 is to increase brand awareness. And this is what I call amplifying your brand, you, and your message, making sure that people know you are out there, being visible to them. The second thing is that it boosts the credibility of your expertise and you, as well as boosting the visibility of you and your website. Now, this is meant to happen with both the search engines and potential clients. You want to be visible and credible with both of them. So your marketing content should be helping both of these audiences, the people and the search engines, know and understand what your expertise is. The third main goal your marketing has is to attract new leads to your business. And the big goal here is typically you want ideal leads, people that could become your ideal client, not just every Jane, Sam, and Karen out there. You want those dream clients coming to you. And note, I did not say you were out there chasing them on social media. We want your marketing to bring them to you. Your marketing content will help you the most by focusing on these 3 goals that are aimed at bringing in new leads. Then follow-up becomes your main job. And this happens once you have those folks in your community, whether they're there as an email subscriber or maybe they're just somebody visiting your website or they're a connection on social media, or they may be an in-person contact or a referral that you had. Somebody connected to you, sent somebody your way. In any case, however these people came into your fold, became part of your community, your job is to convert those people to clients, to have them become someone who works with you and pays you for your expertise. You will use your marketing tools to help with this follow-up too. Your consistent new content, something we've talked a lot about recently on the podcast, your newsletter content, your blog content, your emails and social media, all of this will be a main helper in this area in converting those people from just being someone in your community or a lead or a prospect into clients. And then you want to focus on maintaining and growing this base and get into expanding, increasing your revenue by getting more leads and then booking and retaining more clients. Then the process continues over and over so that you can maintain that growth, so that you continue to build the practice that you started out in the first place to create. But sometimes making all this marketing work is more of a challenge when you're not including the 3 essential elements that I like to make sure all of my clients and students in my programs include in their marketing content. When you skip these essentials, you are skipping opportunities to attract those ideal clients. And you're skipping out on opportunities to get the search engines to know that you are there. So we're going to dive into more details on each of these 3 essentials so that you can ensure you've got them in your marketing content and you've got the essentials working to help you attract those ideal clients. If you've been listening to any of the audits I've done recently on the podcast, you know when we talk about messaging and marketing, I typically start with a couple of key areas, and I'm almost always asking the person who's getting the audit done, have you identified your client's problem? What are the top problems your clients have? Then I also want to know if they can describe the problem in the way the client does too. And this is critical because when folks visit your website or even your social media profiles, they want to feel like you get them, that you understand them. And that all starts with essential element number 1. Your marketing content must speak to that ideal client and their specific problem. There's an awesome quote I came across once that really spoke to me on this topic. And it was an anonymous quote, so there was no author that I could find. But the quote said this: "Sell the problem you solve, not the service or product you offer." And I really like this because it is a key part of understanding that people aren't always looking for the solutions you have. They're focused on their problem. And partly they're focused on their problem because they don't always know what the solution is, which is why they're looking for it in the first place. When your marketing content includes words that talk about the problem they have or even problems they have, and then what life can be like with your service, your solution, that's when it will hit home with them. People consuming that content that you created or even listening to you talk will give you the nod. And that nod, oh man, it is key. It is a subtle sign that they believe in you because you get them. So that's what we want happening. We want your website content and marketing copy to be like a story that brings people in. And when they read the words, they start thinking, that's me. And suddenly you're transporting them into part of your story. And they're paying more attention to the words you have in your marketing because you're telling them how you or your company and your services are going to solve their problems. That's what they're looking for, solutions. They're not looking for your services necessarily. And this is why it's critical that your marketing content needs to talk about their problem so they know you have a solution. And the best example I can offer you about this is for all of my intuitive eating practitioners out there. Whether you're a dietitian, a specialist, a counselor, as that intuitive eating specialist, you help people make peace with food in their bodies. You help people feel good in their bodies, to feel good about the food they're eating, to live life without food controlling them, to live life without food having so much power over them. And you do this by helping them get off diets. You help them find ways to deal with food that is not going to come back and haunt them again and again and again, like a lot of diets do. And I've learned through all my dietitians that I've worked with that 95% of diets fail, and people end up putting on more weight because of the diet and the restriction they were doing. And so intuitive eating is a path to change that behavior. And many of you offer intuitive eating counseling or services. You have this service that is the solution people need. But when you think about how they describe their problem, what words are they using? How do they define that problem? And what are they searching for online? For many of these folks, they do not describe their issue as something to the effect of, I need to learn intuitive eating. That's not the problem that they have. Most of these ideal clients probably haven't even heard about intuitive eating. They don't even know the term exists. But when you get into the shoes and minds of your clients, you find that they're often looking to solve a problem that might use words you don't like or that you don't want to refer to because you're the person that's educated on this topic. You know the difference. But your clients are going to use words like, I want to lose weight so I feel better about my body. Or I want a diet that will work once and for all. Or there's also the ones that will be Googling things like, how do I stop binge eating chips every night? Or I feel like I have no control over food. These are their words and these are their problems. And I know that often these words aren't ones that you like to use with your clients, but you have to get into their minds. And when someone like that has a problem and you ask them to describe the problem, they're not going to say that their problem is something to the effect of, I'm trying to start intuitive eating so I can stop dieting, or that their problem is they're trying to figure out how they can become an intuitive eater. They're not going to use these words. They're going to describe their problem very differently. I've lost control over food. I just want to lose weight. I want to feel better in my body. Now, there are always going to be some clients who have done their work and have some idea of the intuitive eating aspect in this example we're talking about here, and they may describe the problem in this way. But the majority of people will be learning about it by working with you. They know and understand those terms after they've worked with you. But before they come to you, they just want help with their problem. And what you offer is the solution. But when you focus on the service itself and start talking with your words, that's where they're often going to get lost. And they won't always be sure what it's about. And they might get confused and they might wonder what the heck you're talking about because you haven't made that connection with them. They don't feel like you get them because you've been listing out how you can work with them and the things you're going to do with them versus talking about what life can be like when they no longer have those specific problems. It's much the same way when people come to me. Their marketing isn't working. They're spending more time marketing and they're not getting clients from it. They know they want to grow their practice, but the marketing that they do and they spend tons of time doing isn't helping to make this happen. So they don't know what to focus on for their marketing so that it starts working and isn't a waste of time. Sometimes they say they're burnt out from trying to figure it all out. That's how they describe their problems. They simply want to get clients from marketing that is working and not wasting their time. They rarely come to me describing their problem as needing to do things like, I need to learn how to optimize my marketing foundations. I need to improve my messaging. They don't describe the issues this way. They don't say, I need to learn a system to do marketing that's simple and easy that I can follow and be consistent at. They don't want to figure out how to optimize their offer. They want to get clients and they want their marketing to stop being a waste of time. That's why in my marketing, I talk to those types of problems. There are definitely things that I can help them do, and I will help them achieve that end goal of having a simple marketing plan that works to bring in clients. My goal is to help them build the financial freedom so that they feel secure with their practice for the long term. And that's what they want, but it's not how they describe their problem. So if you want people who are reading your marketing content, no matter where it is, to feel that you get them, to nod their head yes and think, she understands where I'm coming from, that means you've got to speak to their problems in your marketing content. And sometimes that will mean using words that they use and that you want to avoid. But just because you use some of these words like lose weight or diets in the description of their problems, it doesn't mean this is what you offer. So you really have to detach these two things from each other. They both have a job to do, and in this case, using the words that people use to describe their problems, their words, that is what's going to help you build the trust in you and your expertise as someone who has the solution they're looking for. And yes, ultimately, the services you have, once they take them and do them, however you offer your services, once they take part in that, then they'll have new words to describe what they're looking for and experiencing, ideally because you've helped them solve their problem and moved on to the next step. But unless you're really clear about having a absolute clarity when it comes to them describing their problems, then you're going to probably miss the mark when it comes to the marketing that you're doing. The best way to ensure that you're speaking to these problems is to have a list that you use of their client problems and refer to it and update it as needed. List out the top 5 problems your ideal client is having so that you are always remembering to use that in your marketing so that you can share how what you have, how your services are the way to solve these problems. So definitely make a list like this and refer to it whenever you're creating your marketing content. Essential element 2 is all about using keywords in your marketing content. Now, sometimes people get scared at the term keywords. They start thinking, oh, we're starting to talk about SEO and search engine optimization and all these words that I don't want to think about. It's too technical. But here's the thing. Merriam-Webster, which is my favorite dictionary online, I love their Quirtle game, which if you've never played it, it's kind of like Wordle, but you have to solve 4 words and you only get 9 tries to solve all 4 of them. Try it out if you haven't. But anyhow, Merriam-Webster, they are my go-to dictionary and thesaurus, and I use them almost daily in all my content creation. But they define keyword very simply. It's a significant word from a title or document used especially as an index to content. So it just really means a word that is a description of another one, a word that is a significant word. And keywords in marketing are just this very thing. Sometimes we define them more as words that will describe you, your services, the topics your ideal clients want to learn about. Keywords can also be location specific or industry specific. So if you are a therapist who has services and you work one-on-one with people in a specific city, your city is going to be a keyword for you. The type of service you have is going to be a keyword for you. Keywords are an important element in your overall marketing plan. And that's why in the Thrive Marketing Academy that I offer, we actually have an entire module of training devoted to keywords because they are one of your most important marketing foundations. And when it comes to marketing, the content for your marketing and the content you write about or the topics you put out online as blogs or emails or social media posts, even videos, all of that content needs keywords in it and a mix of keywords so that you're covering all your bases and all your audiences. Now, the search engines are audience number 1. They will register these keywords that they find, whether they're on your website or in some of your social media content, and then they will index them and register your website and the content that you're sharing. The search engines use keywords when they index websites. Having them on your website, in your content, blog categories, social media content, all of this helps the search engines register you and your website and the content you're putting out there. It's building your digital footprint. And the more your site and all of the pages that you have on your website, the more they can get indexed by the search engines, then the more your website and your pages on the website have a chance of matching up to the searches people are doing online. This is where we get the situation where somebody goes to Google, puts in a search term, and your website comes up in some of those results. Keywords in your website content help the search engines know what your website's about and how it could be the answer to the problems people are Googling to learn more about. Now, those people doing the Googling, they are audience number 2. When you have keywords in your marketing content, that also helps the people reading the content understand that you can help them, that you could have the solution they're looking for. So keywords are words and phrases that people will use when they're searching online for information. So these are the words that you'll go and put into Google when you're looking for an answer to a problem. So how to stop dieting. Stop dieting is a keyword there. Find a therapist who specializes in relationship counseling near me. So we've got a few keywords here. We've got therapist, relationship counseling, and near me. Even though it doesn't say your location, the fact that someone is using near me, the search engines will pick up their location and match sites near them as well. Or maybe someone's typing in how to manage my symptoms with type 2 diabetes. So type 2 diabetes and manage symptoms are part of the keywords in those phrases that they've put into an online search. So when we talk about keywords, they are words and phrases people use to describe not only their problem, but sometimes it might be your business, it might be how you help clients, and then it definitely gets into the problems they have as well. So when you're thinking about your own keywords, you always want to think like the customer searching for you online, not as you, the expert on your topic, searching online. You've got to get into your customer's shoes. You will probably use more technical words to describe yourself and your business and your services. You've got to think, what are other people using? How do they search online for you? And this is where you want to think back to essential element number 1 and think about the words they use to describe their problems. There are probably some keywords in those phrases. So having a list of top keywords is critical to making sure that you include this essential in your marketing content. I always tell my clients and members in my programs to have a good idea of 5 to 10 main keywords and phrases, because a keyword doesn't have to be just one word either. It could be a combination of a few words, so phrases. Maybe it has 2 words in it, or 3, or even 4 or more. But these words and phrases are the ones you want to focus on with your marketing content so that people and the search engines both can find you online. And if you continually use these words in your content, your marketing content, on your website, in your blogs, in your social media content, it will help attach those words to your marketing foundations, i.e., your website and social media profiles, and it will help bring your name, your website, and those social media profiles up higher in online search results. And that is the goal for many businesses, to have people find them online. Keywords will help you do this. But the trick here is to think like your client, not the expert that you are. So I encourage you to take some time and make a list of 5 to 10 keywords or phrases. Once you have this list of keywords, you always want to keep it top of mind when you're creating your marketing content. So don't go keyword crazy with everything that you do now. The search engines will penalize you if you actually overuse your keywords. So use them naturally and you'll be fine. But you want to make sure you add them in so that people get that added way of helping them find you online. And what we're looking for is the right people too, those ideal clients that you want to work with. So this moves us into essential element number 3, which is adding calls to action in your marketing content. So here's the deal. No one is going to sell your services for you. This means you have to ensure that some of your marketing content, not all of it, okay, but some of it encourages people to take action. CTAs are one way I refer to this, and you've probably heard me use this phrase before. Others use it all the time as well. But essentially, what calls to action in your marketing do is help your private practice get more leads, more discovery calls booked, and even some on occasion will lead to a direct client. When you use a CTA, it means you're including words in your marketing that tell people what their next step is. You give them the guidance they need so they know exactly what to do. They don't have to think about it, you tell them. And if you're not using calls to action in your marketing, you could be losing out on sales because they are that important. It gives them that guidance so they know exactly what to do. You cannot assume people reading your content on your website or reading your content on social media will always know what to do. Calls to action can be used in a lot of places when it comes to marketing your private practice or your business. It might be showing up on your website, your social media content, your email marketing content, your newsletters, videos that you do. It doesn't matter where your content and your message land. Some of those messages need to also be directing people on what to do next, and that's called a call to action. Now, there are typically 2 types you want to use in your marketing: direct calls to action and transitional calls to action. And a direct one is just that. I can't explain it any more straightforward. It is a direct call to action, a straightforward CTA. There's no wondering what they should do. There's no iffiness about it. It is the one that people underuse the most because we're always trying to be really nice in our marketing, especially you folks in the wellness industry. You are healers. You don't want to be sellers. You don't want to be salespeople. And sales and marketing make you feel uncomfortable. So sometimes you tiptoe around direct calls to action. But you will need them, and you can do them in ways that aren't icky, and they do not take you out of being with your true self, your authentic self. It's very easy to be direct, polite, and clear without being salesy. And here's a couple examples to help you. Get started today with a marketing assessment for your private practice. Book a discovery call now. Register for our nutrition counseling services here. These are very direct CTAs. Now, transitional ones typically offer an option. So they may give people an alternative option, often to that direct call to action. Transitional ones don't often lead directly to working with you or buying a program or service. So it might be something more like downloading a lead magnet, maybe an ebook or a checklist. It could be booking a discovery call too, but transitional CTAs tend to be the ones for the clients, the people that are looking at them. They seem a little less scary, and they have that option of giving them an alternative to the bigger decision for a next step. So a couple examples of transitional CTAs are something like, if you want to learn more about this, grab this free ebook. Or to see this lesson in action, register for this free training. So transitional ones aren't ones that are very clear. Book a call now. Register today. Sign up here. Those are direct. Transitional ones are often more ones that will have people become a lead versus a client, but they can differ a little bit. We go into more detail on this in episode 4 of the podcast, so I will put a link to that episode in the show notes as well. The idea here is you want to have these calls to action because they guide people into doing more with you and learning more from you. It's another step in your marketing funnel. So you always want to be sure you have some in your marketing and your networking content, because you can use CTAs when you're networking too. When you're at a networking meeting or an event and you tell someone, yeah, if you want to learn a little more about this, I've got a free marketing stats template you can download. It's on my website. That's a transitional call to action too. So it can happen. These calls to action can happen in your networking as well. The big thing is you want to include them in there so people know what the next step is. And those steps are typically bringing them more deeper into the fold and getting closer and closer to working with you. So with CTAs, you can, and in fact, you should make sure that they're on your website pages, your blog posts, your social media posts, videos, and as I mentioned earlier, even in networking conversations. You can use both types, direct and transitional, and that episode 4 will give you some more details on using them in your marketing. So those are the 3 essentials to include in your marketing content to attract more ideal clients. Number 1 is making sure that you are defining your ideal client's problem using their words. Number 2 is using keywords in your marketing content. And number 3 is making sure you have calls to action in your marketing content. So now that you have an idea of what these 3 essentials are, what are your action steps from today's episode? Well, step 1, it is really helpful if you sit down and identify those top 3 to 5 problems your ideal client has and write them out in a way that they would word them. I always like to have this list of problems ready to be able to refer to, and I also update it whenever it's needed. If things change a little bit, I start hearing more of a new problem that's a good one for my ideal clients, then I will make updates to the list too. And then you can refer to this list whenever you're creating your marketing content. Looking at it will prompt you to be thinking about those problems and those ideal clients and not focusing on your services and you. You want the marketing to be about them, not about you. Step 2 is I want you to make another list. And this one is for your top keywords and phrases. And this is another one you also want to refer to when you're creating marketing content. Make sure you're mixing these keywords into the content where you describe their problems is very helpful as well. And it will also help ensure that both audiences are getting the right messages, the potential clients and the search engines. Step 3 is to include calls to action in your marketing content. And these need to be sprinkled everywhere, but balanced with valuable and helpful information too. So I don't want you putting out a ton of social media content that's all a call to action after call to action, CTA, CTA, CTA. That's like you getting out there standing around and yelling, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. Nobody wants to hear that. And we don't want to have too many calls to action there. So you need to have a balance with that. This is why I teach members in the Thrive Marketing Academy how to balance their marketing content with business content, sales content, and those sales ones are where your calls to action will be, and then persona content. So in case you haven't figured it out, I am a list person. So I do want you to make a list for your calls to action. And you can include ones that you might use for discovery calls, ones for lead magnets, ones for just phoning you to talk and ask a question. And make sure you have a combo of direct and transitional ones in this list. And these will be ones that you'll use on your website, your blog posts, your social media content, your videos. Have that list again so you can refer to it as well. So those are your 3 main action steps today. Making lists for the problems your clients have, for your keywords and phrases, and for your calls to action. Oh, and a bonus tip I have for you. Go check your website. If your home, your about, and your services pages do not have at least one call to action on those pages, then you need an update and fast. Add a CTA on each one of these pages so people know what to do next. Tell them, give them that call to action. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is on the home page, they don't lead people to the services page or maybe to the about page. There's often words and content on there that very nicely segues to click more to learn about me or learn about our services, but they miss that opportunity by skipping the calls to action. So make sure you check your website. Every page, is my rule, should have a call to action, at least one on every page. Sometimes you can mix them, a direct and a transitional. It depends on what the page is used for. But definitely take a look and check your pages. And there you have it. Those are the 3 essential elements that you want to include in your marketing content to attract more clients. If you have any questions about making this happen for your practice and want to talk it out, why not book a free marketing audit with me? These are free. They're part of what I do here on the podcast. And it's an opportunity for you to get direct help one-on-one as we talk through one marketing roadblock you have. You can apply for an audit on my website. It's very easy. Just go to pepperitmarketing.com/audit, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes so you can just click and visit over there and apply for the audit. We run through your ideas and concerns. We figure out your main action steps so that you can do some changes and get results from what you're struggling with now. I'll put a link to where you can apply for the audit and also all of the other resources I mentioned in this episode as well. They will be on the show notes page, and you can find those at marketingyourprivatepractice.com/36. This is Kathy Colaiacovo signing off, wishing you a fabulous day and an even better week. And remember, to thrive in practice, you will get yourself to this state faster when you get more of your ideal clients in your fold. And that starts by knowing and including these 3 essentials in your marketing content. Essentials that help people know you are the exact person to help them because you get their specific problems. And hopefully they found you because Google sent them there too, because Google also knew you could help them out by including those essentials in your marketing content as well. I will see you next time. You can find all of our show notes and resources mentioned at marketingyourprivatepractice.com. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at pepperitmarketing and say hi. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, and make sure to rate and review the podcast and hit subscribe on your favorite player so you don't miss any future episodes.